Communication is hard. Even when we're all speaking English, language barriers can still get in our way. It was this observation that led Irish playwright and humorist George Bernard Shaw to remark that America and Britain were two nations separated by a common language. And so, Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, today I'd like to share with you a few stories from my life where just speaking English to fellow English speakers led to unforeseen consequences. I moved to San Francisco in November of 2002. I didn't know anyone here, and whilst my family and friends back in Britain thought that I was very brave for moving all the way out here by myself, I wasn't scared at all. Quite the contrary. I was thrilled. I was rejuvenated. Here was I, a stranger in a beautiful, vibrant city, fulfilling a dream by moving to America. My first apartment was in the Fillmore district, a neighborhood that mixes old soul with new money, where the heady smoke of Mediterranean hookers mingles with the sweet scent of Argentinian gelato. And it was here, in Harry's Bar on Fillmore, that I first realized that being a foreigner could be used to my advantage. One of the things that I first noticed when I moved here is that most Americans thought, based on my accent, that I was from Australia. Now, to most Brits, being mistaken for an Aussie is a terrible insult. I, of course, rise above these things, but it gave me an idea. The next time I got chatting to someone in a bar, I would challenge them to a simple game. If they could guess where I was from, I would buy them a drink. But if they guessed incorrectly, they would buy me a drink. And so the next time I went to Harry's Bar on Fillmore, I played my game. And I won. A lot. 37 times in a row. Wow. And it quickly became my favorite game as I would stagger from bar to bar, collecting my winnings as I went. And of course, should someone happen to guess correctly, I could always pretend that I really was from down under. But it hasn't always been fun and games. The accent that I have today is not the one with which I started life. I was actually born in Glasgow, Scotland, a country whose accents are as thick as its porridge. I was 7 years old when my parents moved us 450 miles south to the town of Southend-on-Sea in Essex, about 40 miles east of London. All of a sudden, I was an outsider. I was a strange boy in a strange country with no friends. A boy who couldn't understand why he couldn't be understood. We all know that kids can be cruel, and it was rare that I was spared from the teasing and bullying of my classmates. I had only one practical escape: to change my accent. So it was that, "Ach, Ma, I'm feeling, but off you mean, what am I going to do?" became, "Oh, Mother, I'm so upset, they're awfully mean. Whatever shall I do?" My folks still think that this was a deliberate act, a conscious effort on my part to become less different and thus less of a target. I don't remember it at all. I just know that somewhere between there and now, I lost practically all trace of my Scottish accent. And as happy and thankful as I am today for the life that I have, a small piece of me regrets that. But you don't have to move 450 miles to find someone stymied by the Scots. You don't even have to leave Scotland. Take, for example, the crew of a small ferry that I took during a recent trip to my homeland. This particular ferry runs twice a day from the fishing town of Mallig on the west coast of Scotland to the remote village of Inveree on the north shore of Loch Nevis. Now, it's a small ferry, and so there's not much of a crew. There's the captain, his first mate, and the deckhand. The deckhand is a very friendly young man, and he would spend much of the downtime during the 90-minute journey chatting with the passengers. But despite being Glaswegian from Glasgow like myself, I couldn't understand most of what he said. Occasionally, I would catch a reference to something familiar, like a football team or the name of a street. But by and large, I was relegated to nodding and smiling and asking conversation-pausing questions like, how many fish do you think there are out here? And I was relieved to find that I wasn't the only one. As the boat slid up to the dock at the end of our journey, the captain leaned over to me and said, I don't know about you, but I can't understand a bloody thing he says. Communication is hard, even when we're all speaking English. And I think that's probably why most of us are here at Toastmasters. Not just to become better speakers, but to become better communicators.